May 17th marks the 70th anniversary of the landmark ruling by the United States Supreme Court in Brown v. Board of Education. That decision ended racial segregation in all public schools. Before the 1954 Brown ruling, the law of the land was separate but equal. This meant that black children could be separated from white children at school as long as the education they received at separate, racially segregated schools was equal in quality to what white children received in their schools. The Brown ruling found that having separate facilities was unequal. While you may have heard of Brown versus Board of Education, what many don't realize is that the Brown case was made up of several cases from across the country, including 2 from right here in Delaware. And even more importantly, the 2 cases from Delaware were the only 2 of all the cases that made up the Brown litigation where the families of the black students won in the lower court. In all of the other cases, judges upheld separate but equal as constitutional. First, there is Ethel Belton, who lived in Claymont, just a short distance from Claymont High School. But because Belton was black, rather than walk to the school near her house, she spent 2 hours a day on the bus riding to and from Wilmington to go to Howard High School, which was the only high school for black children in Delaware. Ethel's parents complained that not only was the daily ride long and difficult, but the facilities at Howard were also worse than those at Claymont High School. Claymont High also offered better courses and extracurricular activities that were not available at Howard. The second case included 8-year-old Shirley Beulah, who was driven to school every day even though a school bus carrying white children passed right by her home and Shirley's school. Her mom, Sarah, fought to convince the state to let her daughter ride the bus, but was told Delaware would not provide transportation to black and white students on the same bus. Both families turned to attorney Lewis Redding, the first and at that time only African-American attorney in Delaware, to present their cases in the Delaware Court of Chancery in Wilmington. Redding brought both cases to the court, where Chancellor Colin Seitz made history by ruling in favor of the Belton and Beulah families, finding that the facilities provided to black students were far inferior and thus unequal, and granted them immediate admittance into the all-white schools. Seitz's ruling became a key part of the Brown case, where it was then taken to the U.S. Supreme Court to challenge segregation in public schools across the nation. And when the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the plaintiffs in the Brown decision, the justices cited the Delaware ruling.